Hi everybody, this is Gibbie. This is Memorial Day. Happy Memorial Day, everybody. This is May 26, 2025. I'm over at Veterans Park. We're getting ready to do the memorial service here for all our wonderful veterans. Okay, I'm going to flip the camera around. That's Veterans Memorial Park. It's at 25th and Sheridan Road in Zion, Illinois. It's a little cool. About 50. It's pretty windy, a little breezy. But it's blue sky and no rain in sight. So I'm going to go down there and set her up.
Okay. Yeah, you saw the program.
Ladies and gentlemen, I welcome you, and I'm glad to see all of you here for our memorial service for the names that are on the monument. And I would ask that all of you who are able would stand for the colors coming in for the Pledge of Allegiance, the National Anthem, the Pledge of Allegiance, and then the Invocation. Parade the colors.
Forward, forward. Face. Present. Forward.
By the dawn's early light, what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight for the ramparts we've watched were so gallantly streaming. And the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that Star-Spangled Banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave.
Please join me in the pledge to the American flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I invite you to pray with me this morning. Dear Lord, we are gathered here today to honor the names etched on this wall behind me. Names of those from this community who paid the ultimate price for freedom. We thank you for their willingness to serve and their bravery to act in the face of danger. Comfort those who still grieve their loss. War is a terrible thing. We wish that it would never again come our way, that we would never again have to send our husbands and wives, our sisters and brothers, our sons and daughters, our grandchildren and great-grandchildren to fight to preserve the cause of freedom. Yet, as long as evil exists in this world, we ask that you would instill within us the courage to stand for the sake of liberty. In your holy word in Micah 4:3, you speak of a day when nations will learn of war no more. A day, I believe, when your Son, Jesus Christ, will bring lasting peace to this world. Just as he came so many years ago to offer himself upon the cross for the sins of the world, to save those who will trust him with repentant faith, so I look in faith to the time when he will purge the world of sin and restore our hearts completely in your steadfast love. Lord, I long for that day. Lord, forgive us for where we have gone astray, where we as a country have lost our way. Help us to ensure that the lives represented by this wall were not sacrificed in vain. Lead us to a place where we can truly say that we are one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I ask this all in the name of Christ, my Lord. Amen.
Right. Big. Forward. Mark.
You may be seated. Again, I thank all of you for coming to share this time. I want to recognize Mayor McKinney as one of the people who makes this community great and moving forward. And also we have Colleen Valentine. She is a Gold Star mother. Her son lost his life in an accident on a ship in 2004, I believe. And you can find some about him and about a Lieutenant Robert Hall, who was a Zion person, and in World War II he died protecting people on the beaches of Normandy. I also want to thank the Lakes Area Swing Band and all the music and everything they play for us every year. They do a super job. And Mr. Mayor, I would ask that you would come forward and give the proclamation.
Good morning, everyone. I have an honored guest with me here that's going to read part of this proclamation. Mayor John Spencer was also the mayor of Zion and also a decorated war veteran. So we're going to bring the proclamation to you today. And before we begin, can we give the Lakes Area Swing Band a big round of applause? They do such a great job, and that big band music is so soothing to hear. In fact, every time I turn on Sirius XM radio, I turn to the 40 station so I can get little remnants of what you play each and every Memorial Day. Mayor Spencer?
Thank you, Bill. Whereas in the year 2025 finds our troops defending freedom both at home and abroad, and gives cause for our nation to reflect on the extraordinary sacrifice of heroes who have fought and died in defense of liberty, and heroes who safeguard that liberty today. In those reflections of heroic sacrifice, the magnitude of Memorial Day becomes very powerful. Whereas It comes to pass each Memorial Day, we remember our heroes, and we pay tribute to them by decorating the graves of those who came home and honoring the memories of those who didn't. Whereas, let us then gather around our heroes' sacred remains and garland the mounds above them with the choicest flowers of springtime. Let us raise above the dear old flag they saved from dishonor. Let us in this solemn presence renew our pledges to aid and assist those who may have left among us as charges upon the nation's gratitude, the soldiers and sailors, widows and orphans.
Whereas we stand together for the purpose of preserving and strengthening those kind and fraternal feelings which have bound together the soldiers, sailors, and Marines who united to suppress any aggression against our nation's liberty. We stand together to cherish tenderly the memory of our heroic dead who made it their breast a barricade between our country and its foe. Now therefore, I, Billy McKinney, Mayor of the City of Zion, do hereby proclaim that the City of Zion shall call its citizens to, in the words of Dwight D. Eisenhower, solemnly remember the sacrifices of all those who fought so valiantly on the seas, in the air, and on foreign shores to preserve our heritage of freedom, and let us reconsecrate ourselves to the task of promoting the enduring peace so that their efforts shall not have been in vain. Be it further proclaimed that on the 26th day of May 2025, each and every member of the Legion shall pledge renewed allegiance to our country and instill in the hearts and minds of all Americans their responsibilities as citizens of the United States of America. To those brave soldiers, both past and present, a grateful nation salutes you. Signed this 26th day of May 2025, Mayor Billy McKinney. Thank you.
I would like to invite Colleen Valentine, Gold Star mother, to come up and share some words with us. Again, she lost her son in a horrible accident on board a ship in the early 2000s. Colleen.
Good morning. Mayor McKinney, former Mayor Spencer, James Duncan, others, guests, friends, neighbors. Thank you for this opportunity. I've been coming to this memorial service for many years. And before that, I was going to the one in Antioch, given by the American Legion there, because that is where I grew up. I'd like to introduce my family here with me today. My daughter Garnett Cecil and her husband Rocky Cecil, and my fabulous grandson Jack. You want to stand up? I also want to thank the American Legion, the Auxiliary, and the Sons of the American Legion and others who every year put out this fabulous flag display. I just love coming through town on certain holidays of the year and seeing all the state flags and the American flags out in this park. Let's give them a hand, please. My son Jack Bernard Valentine was born on December 27th, 1985. You know, I was just praying he wouldn't come right on Christmas, that's for sure. From first grade on, he grew up here in Zion. The son, grandson, nephew, and great-nephew of veterans. My late husband was 24 and a half years Navy. My dad was 20 years Navy, and others. And my late father-in-law was served in the Navy during World War II. So it doesn't come as any surprise when Jack enlisted in the Navy, along with two of his best friends at that time. On December 1st, 2006, after just being in for 2 short years, we had a snow day here in Zion and schools were closed. Now, if you remember back then, that hardly ever happened, but we were at home. And I was next door tutoring the son of my neighbor in some math, and my daughter came over and said, "Mom, what does it mean when the captain of the ship calls you?" And my heart dropped because I knew it couldn't be anything good. So I zoomed home through the snowy front yards and heard that my son had been in an accident on the ship. I couldn't comprehend how badly he had been burned. He was burned with steam on 70% of his body, and he had inhaled the steam as well. He and 5 others were airlifted from Guam, where the accident occurred on the USS Frank Cable, to Fort Sam Houston, to the Brooke Army Medical Center burn unit. And I have to tell you, that place is amazing, absolutely amazing. We had ups and downs. He coded a few times, but finally on December 7th, he slipped away. There was as any family, we had a lot of turmoil going on, a lot of, what does this mean and what do we do? And when our CACO officer handed us those, the immediate death benefit check, I just looked at it and I said, if I give it back, can I have my son back? The main thing here that I hope you understand, we honor our war dead, those who died fighting, and that is as it should be, absolutely as it should be. But I would also like to remind you that not everyone who dies in service does so on a battlefield or does so being sunk in a ship or in the air. Some of them are just doing their everyday tasks on board a ship or on the ground or somewhere else. Over the past few years, I've been researching the people who are named on this wall and have found out that, as I'm sure you might have guessed, many of the people from World War I died of the flu that was prevalent in that time. One person was on a picnic with friends and fell off a cliff and died. One person in Vietnam was attacked by a tiger. People die for various reasons while serving in the U.S. military. People who die in combat or at the enemy hand are justly honored, absolutely justly honored. But let us not forget those on this wall and in other places who died just doing their job. I am so grateful for my son's shipmates who reach out to me every year around this time. And not only around now, but around Jack's birthday and his death day. And they just give a shout out. And they thank God for Jack and for what he did. They were doing pressure testing on his ship. And if any of you know anything about steam systems, you know it can be dangerous. And they were doing pressure testing. And something burst, and that superheated steam filled the space. Jack, while people were trying to get out and shutting down their equipment, Jack shut down a final valve that if he had not shut that down, fuel would have gone into the stacks and caused further damage to the ship with further loss of life or injury to his shipmates. Just this week, I saw a Facebook notification that one of his best friends, who joined the Navy right around the time he did, is retiring after 20 years of service. And it gave me a little bit of a thump that Jack would have been doing about the same thing right about now. Because I know he would have made a career of it. If any of you have the opportunity to go to Great Lakes, down to the base down there, and you can get onto the main base, and you want to see what the Machinery Repairman School has done for Jack, they have dedicated the graduation hall in his name. And every year, they have a memorial service on or around December 7th. And I thank them for that. And I thank you for being here and honoring all the people on this wall and all around our great nation who have given the ultimate sacrifice. Thank you.
Next, the Great Lake, or the Lakes Area Swing Band is going to perform the Armed Forces Medley, and they are also going to be including the song for the Space Force. Your service is played. Please stand so we can honor your service. Thank you. That's well done. Over here on the side, we have a table for the POW-MIA Remembrance. And I'll ask Ken Endress to explain the table.
Good morning. To my right, your left, is a table to recognize the prisoners of war and missing in action of our military service people. It occupies a place of dignity and honor. It is set for those to symbolize that members of our armed forces are missing from our ranks and are referred to as PWOs, or missing in action. The table is round, symbolizing an everlasting concern for our missing action and prisoners of war. The tablecloth is white, symbolizing the purity of their motives when answering the call of duty. A single rose is in the vase signifies the blood they have shed in sacrifice to ensure the freedom of our beloved United States of America. The rose also reminds us of the family and friends of the missing comrades who keep faith while waiting their freedom. The yellow ribbon tied to the vase is a reminder of all those waiting their return. The lone candle symbolizes the frailty of a prisoner alone, trying to stand up against his oppressors. The black ribbon on the candle reminds us of those who will not be coming home. The lemon on the plate reminds us of the bitter fate if we do not bring them home. The salt on the plate reminds us of the countless fallen tears of families as they wait. The glass is inverted. They are not here with us. The chair is empty. No one will be sitting at this table today. The American flag reminds us in many ways that they may never return. They paid the supreme sacrifice to ensure our freedom. The Bible represents the strength gained through faith to sustain those lost in our country's struggles. One nation under God, let us remember and never forget their sacrifice. May God forever watch over them and protect them and their families. There is a placard on the table if you care to come up and look at it later to see the same information available. Thank you.
Mrs. Valentine outlined the information for machinery repairman 3rd class Jack B. Valentine. When that steam line broke in that compartment, the impact is undescribable. It's high pressure, it's superheated, and the impact is no fun. But Jack and his shipmates stayed there to complete the shutdown to protect the ship and their shipmates. And that's something that sailors do when they're in that situation. And I have great respect for Jack Valentine and the way that he handled himself during that situation, even as a junior enlisted sailor. His information is in the program. The other man we want to highlight is First Lieutenant Robert L. Hall. He was born on August 19, 1919 in Zion, Illinois. He was the son of Harry Horace Hall and June E. Robinson Hall, and husband of Lucille Mapes Williams. Robert enlisted in the United States Army Air Force on May 16, 1942. He served in the 487th Fighter Squadron of the 352nd Fighter Group of the 8th Air Force. As a first lieutenant, he was flying a P-51 Mustang and did numerous flights and missions over enemy territory. On June 7, 1944, he took off from Station F-141 in Bodney, England, for an armed reconnaissance mission over occupied France. Unfortunately, at about 2 p.m., he was shot down by flak while strafing a German convoy. His aircraft crashed into a nearby, and don't speak French, so I'm not going to try these words. And he was killed in that incident. But an amazing thing about the folks in France after D-Day is they had great respect for the young men that came to freedom. In the farmer's field where Hall's airplane crashed, the French citizens made a memorial for him in that farmyard. And to my knowledge, it is still there today. Lieutenant Hall was posthumously awarded several honors for his bravery and service, including the Distinguished Flying Cross, the Air Medal, and again, the French citizens really support what our folks did over there. Every year on D-Day, there is a remembrance over there, and they go all out for the veterans. We're going to do the roll call of honor. Greater love hath no man than this, that a man lay down for his life for his friends. That's from John 15:3 in the Bible. In front of us is a granite memorial. Engraved on this memorial are the names of 59 men and 1 woman from the Zion, Winthrop Harbor, and Beach Park area. They are some of those that made the ultimate sacrifice. Since the American Revolutionary War to the end of the War on Terror in 2021, approximately 1.3 million military members have made the ultimate sacrifice for this country in conflicts and national crisis. The 60 individuals on this wall are among those who have fallen. The lives of these men and women who were in the prime of their lives is our nation's price for freedom. For World War I, the first war, the war to end all wars, with thousands of Allied and German soldiers dead and wounded, the trench war had become costly. It had to hurt. America was called on to end the stalemate in Europe at the cost of 116,000 American lives. The true American veteran was born. From World War II, let us remember and let us honor
Arthur F. Brown, Ralph F. Dalmadge, W. Stanley Hoskin, Paul T. Snyder, Charles E. Van Fleet, Lawrence R. Wolfe.
World War II, 1941 to 1945. America had hardly enjoyed 25 years of peace. A depression and economic collapse was keeping us busy when another world war struck America for the second time in that century. True to her colors, our men and women again rose to defend the evil across the sea that threatened to end freedom for all mankind. There are very few of the World War II veterans still living. We, the living, owe those who served in World War II honor and gratitude for their sacrifice to secure the lifestyle and the things that we are allowed to live with today. What kind of a world would it be without their sacrifice? When they were young, they saved the world. But like before, the price of freedom was not cheap. Over 405,000 American lives were lost. Truly, this would be the last war. From World War II, let us honor
Hans T. Albrecht, Donald A. Heyman, Michael M. Blazevich, John W. Connell, Garnett W. Craig, Lester R. Degler, George M. Edgar, Edwin J. Fiala, Eugene L. Ford, Lewis H. Garrett, Robert L. Hall, R. H. Hicks, Leonard A. Januszewski, Robert L. Klawan, Andrew S. Krempley, Helen M. Krempley, Elmer H. Langbad, Burton L. Lee, Glenn H. Leach, J. Warren Leach, Felix J. Lopachin, Henry O. Madsen, Herbert E. Mann, Adolph J. Mauser, Claude F. McNabb, Frederick R. McNabb, Lloyd R. Mulmer, Charles D. Nelson, Richard W. Nielsen, Ewell C. Pounders, William R. Roussar, Wilbur C. Smith, Harold A. Snyder, William M. Solberg, Edwin L. Turner, Grady L. Young.
Korean War, 1950 to 1955. Peace did not last. In less than 5 years came Korea, the forgotten war. A war where a ceasefire truce brought an end to the combat phase of the conflict, but as yet has not been brought to an end, has not brought an end to the war itself. Our proud men and women fought to help keep another nation free. Our veterans are suffering many things to show the world that communist way of life will not be allowed to expand beyond its borders. These veterans truly were the first line of defense against the spread of communism. And we still are. The price of freedom, over 36,000 American lives. from the Korean War, let us honor.
Daniel G. Peters, George H. Moore, Leroy A. Hill, Richard K. DeVoe, Doran Sheffield.
The Vietnam War, 1960 to 1975. What started out as a few advisors being sent to Vietnam soon put American youths on the firing line in a war our politicians would not allow us to win. Our troops were in harm's way, but could not fight the way we have in the past. Who were the enemy? They were everywhere. The troops developed a brotherhood to survive the horrors of being alone at times and to face an unknown enemy. We went, we served, and some of us died. Those that returned home came home to an ungrateful nation. Over 58,000 did not come home. From the Vietnam War, let us honor
Terry L. Armstrong, Thomas L. Burrow, Leonard J. Carter, James M. Hinkle, Edward K. Peters, Michael D. Schlatzley, Donis G. Willis, James C. Wister.
the Cold War, 1945 to 1991. In 1961, during his address to the nation, President Kennedy aptly stated, "The mere absence of war does not mean peace. The Cold War is still a war." From the Cold War, the Dominican Republic Expeditionary Task Force of 1965, let us honor
Russell Rowe,
the Persian Gulf era, 1991 to 2000. For the first time in many years, nations of the world would unite. Finally, our young men and women would not be left out on the vine to die. Once again, young men and women of this great nation stepped up to the task with honor and valor to help protect the world from a tyrant. Remember these men and women. Over 300 gave their lives during Desert Storm. From the Persian Gulf era, let us honor
Bradley W. Pacola,
the global war on terror from 2001 to 2021, but it did not end with Desert Storm. History teaches us the world will never run out of threats to freedom. Our present generation, over 7,000, paid the price for freedom in the global war on terror. Let us honor
Donald B. Farmer, Jack B. Valentine, John M. Kenneth.
Clearly, future generations will be called on again and again to make sacrifices for freedom. We live busy lives, but occasionally take time to come and visit this memorial. Read each name on the memorial of the 59 men and 1 woman. Think about MR3 Valentine, First Lieutenant Paul, and many of the others on the wall. For a few minutes, quietly reflect on them and their families and the contribution they made to this nation. Bring your children and your grandchildren. Tell them why there is a memorial here and the debt that we owe, we the living owe, to those who gave their all that we might live in freedom. May God continue to bless the United States of America. We will now do the placing of the wreath. Colleen, I'd ask that you would come up and help us with that. There will be a rifle volley after we do this, so don't get too afraid.
Hey, fire! Ready! Hey, fire! Ready! Hey, fire! This concludes our program for today. I appreciate all of you coming and what it means, not just for you being here, but for our country and for this community. I ask that the Lord would strengthen and guide us as we move forward. We ask this in Jesus' name. You are dismissed.
Oh, beautiful for spacious skies, for amber waves of grain, for purple mountains, majesty above the fruited plain. America, America, God shed his grace on thee and crown thy good.
Okay, that's about it. Okay, I hope you all enjoyed this little video I got. Okay, take care. Bye-bye.